back like we never left. This is Stef from Double Move Sports. Guys, I want to talk about AJ Dillon today and decide, is he the real deal for fantasy for 2021 redraft for our dynasty leagues? I think this actually might be a buy opportunity in some leagues. Let's break it all down here in the fantasy film room. Real quick, if you guys like what we do here on the show, a like and a sub, always appreciated. But AJ Dillon, he's one of the most polarizing players in dynasty leagues right now. Some people think he sucks. Others think he's going to be the next Eddie Lacy or even Derrick Henry. Comps get thrown around. But now in this situation that we can project for 2021, we've got Aaron Jones coming back on a new contract. Jamal Williams has left to the Detroit Lions in free agency. And the one thing we know about AJ Dillon is he has the second round draft capital. And that draft capital for running backs, it's one of the highest correlations to a RB breakout. Let's look at AJ Dillon first as a prospect coming into the league for context, because we really only saw one game of usage from Dillon. We'll get into some of the film here later on in the video, but coming into the NFL, had a very intriguing profile. He's a 6 foot, 247 pound running back. He ran a 4.53 in the NFL Combine, which, if we look at speed score, which represents speed relative to body weight, AJ Dillon is in the 97th percentile. Another data point that correlates to an running back breakout is that speed score. How explosive are they? Can they complete long runs and take carries between the tackles to the house? That's what AJ Dillon has going for him. And then he also has the youth. He hasn't even turned 23 yet. By the time the 21 season starts, he will have been 23 for a few months. But in college, as a freshman, AJ Dillon broke out all over the place. He broke out at age 19, and in 13 games, he saw 300 rushing attempts for 1,589 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 0 targets. In his junior year, was able to stay healthy for almost the entire season, 318 carries, 1,685 rushing yards, which was 6th in the country, and added 13 receptions on 18 targets. So AJ Dillon, just looking at what he did from his production in college, this guy was getting used purely as a rusher. He was essentially like Derrick Henry in a college football offense, just nowhere near as efficient as Derrick Henry, because Henry's, in the top percentile when we look at NFL running backs. I think that's one of the knocks that a lot of folks have against AJ Dillon, is that he was used primarily as a pure bruiser back, but he has the measurables. He's shown that he can carry a massive workload on the ground. But what did AJ Dillon show us as a rookie in the NFL? So we all know about Dillon's blow-up game towards the end of the season, and that's pretty much all the tape Dillon gave us. He had a few plays in the postseason, which we'll look at, but in this game against Tennessee, 21 carries, 124 yards. That's a 5.9 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then he had 1 reception for 5 yards in this game. So if it's any sign of Dillon's 2021 usage, it's going to be a good time. Well, let's start with the passing game. So as a rookie, Dillon saw 2 targets. Right, this huge sample size, 2 targets in 2020, but based on what he showed in college, he's not going to melt faces as a receiver, but he has decent enough hands and looks smooth enough in the passing game to be able to get dump off passes, screen passes in the NFL. This isn't scramble drill. This isn't something where the play breaks down and it was happenstance that Dillon was the guy there. This is Dillon running designed routes so Rodgers can take what the defense gives him. And we know Rodgers is incredible at doing that. He's picking defenses apart. So I know it's a limited sample size. That's really the issue here. But I think Dillon does look smooth in the passing game. I think he can get it done. Does he look like Christian McCaffrey? Does he look like Aaron Jones? No, not at all. But I think he has the chops to be able to get it done when he needs to. I could see something like 2 targets a game completely in his range of outcomes when we're projecting for his 2021 season. But now let's look at Dillon as a rusher. In his first year in the league, Dillon saw 46 carries for 242 yards, which was a 5.2 yards per attempt, extremely efficient for an NFL running back. And as a rusher, Dillon's definitely a force to be reckoned with. A lot of times it takes multiple defenders to take him down. Sometimes he doesn't seem super elusive. To me, Dillon looks best utilized as a north and south runner, almost the opposite of Aaron Jones. But I think he has decent vision. He's able to find cutback lanes, which he did a lot in college. And sometimes this Packers O-line made it pretty easy on Dillon to just cram it into open gaps for 7 to 8 yard gains. Take a look at this run from Aaron Jones. I think if you put AJ Dillon in this exact situation, I think he can make this run. Run it up the middle, get past defenders at the second level, 75-yard touchdown run to the house. Both Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon run 4.5s. Dillon was actually a few hundredths of a second faster than Aaron Jones for what it's worth. I do expect some big plays and some boom weeks for AJ Dillon on the ground against lower tier run defenses. So where we're at today, we're recording here at the end of March. Dillon is in a stable situation. The Packers are going to try to win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers again before he retires or leaves Green Bay. Aaron Jones signed a 4-year deal, but the way the contract is set up, it's actually a pretty team-friendly deal. The Packers pay Jones about what the franchise tag is for 2 years. Then they decide if they want to pay him against a $19 million cap hit in 2023. At that point, Jones will be 28 years old. And this could be A.J. Dillon's backfield in 2023 if he can continue to develop as a pass catcher and stay somewhat efficient on the ground. I think Dillon's going to have a role in this offense. Not only because of his abilities as a player, he showed some flashes as a rookie, but because of the second-round draft capital. But I don't expect Aaron Jones to go away over the next 2 seasons. They're paying him big money for a running back. Now, looking at the Packers offense, we should all expect some touchdown regression in 2021. Aaron Rodgers had one of the highest touchdown rates of all time, but Green Bay ran the 12th most run plays per game last season. So I think this is going to be an Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon thunder and lightning situation in Green Bay. And these are part of the projections we put together every year that we build into our rankings. We talk about these all the time on our channel. We got rookie talk for you Dynasty players out there. If you're new to the Dynasty game, hit up our Discord channel. Happy to walk you guys through trades, draft advice, roster construction, whatever it may be. We have A.J. Dillon projected for around 15 PPR points per game. And the guys in that range are typically the touchdown or bust names. But where I do think Dillon is very interesting is if Aaron Jones goes down, how does Dillon get utilized? Does he then become a 90% opportunity share player like we saw James Robinson? Or maybe long-term, maybe the Packers decide to shift their offense to revolve around establishing the run game with A.J. Dillon like the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry. I strongly doubt they're going to do that with Aaron Rodgers under center and Devontae Adams out wide. But that's what you're hoping for as far as the upside for A.J. Dillon. He does have some handcuff appeal as well if you're a contender in Dynasty. And in Superflex leagues, I'm not willing to buy for anything more than a early to mid second round rookie pick in 2021. In startups, you should have Dillon in the same tier as running backs like Kareem Hunt, one of the last kind of secure starting running backs in the draft that'll have some upside. Isn't necessarily guaranteed a full workload every week. He's going to have some big games, and I'm more than willing to wait and see how he's utilized through the air and on the ground next season, because who knows? He could be the future of Green Bay's offense.